Hello, in today's video I'm going to demonstrate how you can create a time-only based show using the Cobra show creator. So to begin, we're going to click on File, New Show, without music, or select No Music, and it's going to be a time-only event. And just to recap, a time-only event is where your show and its subsequent cues or events are all going to be based on specific time sequences. So we'll go ahead and select time only, and we're going to call this time demo. And now we can start adding our cues. And to do that, we go to the bottom here using these cue controls, and we hit the plus button. And you can see we now have our first event. I double click in here and I can go ahead and put my time in. And I'm going to put 2 seconds and hit save. This first item is going to be mines, and I'm going to have several of them. Now I don't need to actually have 3 separate events. I can take advantage of the functionality within the Cobra firing system and add 3 separate consumer igniters in parallel and have them go to one cue. So that's what we're going to do in this example. The next thing is, to simplify things with this demonstration, I'm just going to put channel 1 for all my events. But you could actually have 0 to 99. And then my cues, I'm going to just put them in sequential order. But it doesn't have to be like that when you set up your show. So we'll go ahead and put in channel 1, cue 1. And now you can put in your firework name. Now you could just enter in, for instance, mine if you want to. Or you can take advantage of an additional feature within Cobra Show Creator called My Fireworks. And that's where you can add your own database of effects. Now these could be effects that you actually have on hand, and you could, for instance, have your own inventory, or it could just be effects that you want to incorporate in upcoming shows. And this will enable you to actually select items within My Fireworks. You can view them, for instance, and then simply insert them into the events within your show. So we'll go ahead and demonstrate that. I'll click on My Fireworks. I'm going to do a search on mines. And you can see it returned a couple of results. Now this first one, I know this is a cake actually, but critical acclaim, those are mine shells. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this row, and I'm going to click insert, and you can see it brought it over. Now the next item I want to add, I'm going to show you a different way you can add a cue. You can right click on this row and select insert a cue, and it asks you if you want to add it above the currently one you have selected or below it, and I'm going to choose below. And then I'm going to highlight that row, and I want to put in a consumer cake. So I'm going to click show all within My Fireworks, and this first cake I actually want to do a 500 gram, and I want it to be a hard-hitting cake with a lot of shots, probably like a rapid fire type of effect. And I like hit the road jack. So I have this highlighted. I've highlighted hit the road jack, and all I need to do is click insert, and you can see it brought it over. More importantly, it brings over the duration information, which that is really handy as you set up a time event based show, because as you know, everything is based on time sequences. So if you want to stagger some things, or if you want to have one cake go at the immediately following the other one, it's important to have that information, and this enables you to have it right in front of you. So you don't have to keep going back or have this information written down or look it up. It's there every time, and it comes up. So if I look at adding my next cue, this one is going to execute, we're going to put at 3 seconds. So this one's starting at 3, has a duration of 36. So my next effect, I'm going to go ahead and add another cue. We're going to have this one go off at 40 seconds. So I'll go ahead and type that in here and click save. And this next one, I'm going to do another consumer cake, and this one I'm actually interested in a 200 gram. As I scroll down, I really like stop and go. So I'm going to highlight it, my row's selected, and I'm going to click insert, and you can see it brought it over. So now I can continue to add on more cues. And the next one, for instance, I'll just click the cue button down here below. And I'm going to put in a time here of, let's see, 1 minute and 10 seconds. We'll go ahead and type that in and hit save. And this cake, I want to actually do another 500 gram, and I like strobe cakes, but I have 2 of them in here. So I kind of want to take a look at them and see which one I want. So this is another feature within my Fireworks. I can double click on the effect and it'll load it. And at the top you're going to see there's actually the YouTube player. And they've incorporated that into the application. So you can view the effects from within this application. Once you find a video that you like, you can copy and paste the link into here, and it's readily available every time you go to set up your show. So you don't have to go scour the internet looking for, you know, certain videos. And we know there's some good videos out there and there's some others that aren't so good. So this way you can pick the video you like, load it into this application, and it saves it. So you simply will click on it just like you do with any other browser, and it's going to play it. You can make it full screen if you want. You can pause it at any point. But this, like I said, is really nice that you can actually view the effect to get an understanding if this is the one you want to place in your show. So I'm going to go ahead and pause that. I do like this particular cake. I'm going to highlight the row and I'm going to click insert from right here, and you can see it brought it over. So my show is starting to set up pretty nicely, but when I take a look at it, do you notice anything that just doesn't look right based on timing? Well, if we look here, we have this second cake that's going to start at 3 seconds. It's roughly going to be 36 seconds in duration. So 40 seconds is probably a good start time. This one has a duration of 40 seconds. So that puts us at probably about 1:20. I have this one starting at 1:10. Now I could have some overlap, but if I want these to kind of go in sequence one after another, I'm actually probably going to hit this one a little bit early. So I can double click this and simply make a modification. I'm going to actually bump this up to 1:20 and click save. And like I said, the application is really easy to make subtle changes, tweaks. You can easily go through the menus. And then the other more important thing is it brings this information like duration, and you have it right in front of you. So you can really take a view at your show, and as you're going along you can identify potential issues with your time sequences. So now this is going to be a pretty short show. We're going to start to get into our finale. And so I'm going to highlight this row and I'm going to click to add another cue. And to kick off my finale, I want to actually do another cake, and I'm thinking guerrilla warfare. And I'm going to go ahead and click insert because I already have the row selected, and you can see it brought it over. Now massive strobe has a duration of about 50 seconds. It's starting at about 1:20. So this would probably be about 2 minutes and 10 seconds if I want to start at that time with no overlap. So I'm going to do 2:10 and we'll save. So now I want to actually incorporate some shells. And I have pro shells listed here. I'm probably going to do a multiple of different canister shells, but this is the only one I think I have in my Fireworks. And I'll take a quick look. Yep, that's really the only shells I have right now. So I'm just going to select that one. I'm going to add another row here, or queue, and I'm going to have these start actually shortly after, or I'm going to have a little overlap with the guerrilla warfare. So the guerrilla warfare, as we know, is a pretty quick cake. It has a duration of 18 seconds. So that one's going to be ending, probably just before 2.5 minutes. So I'm going to have this one start at 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So there's going to be a little bit of overlap. And I'm going to click save. And like I said, I'm going to choose these pro shells and I'm going to click insert. Now I'm going to actually have multiple racks. So I'm going to show you another feature you have. You can actually duplicate events within your show. And how you can do that is you simply right click on the row and you go down the bottom where it says duplicate event. And you just simply click it. I'm going to do it one more time. And you can see it brings over all the information. The time, the description, duration, all that comes over. Now, I'm actually going to have a little bit of stagger from this one to these right here. And I'm going to change this and go 235. I'm going to make this one 235 as well. Click Save. And so those two are going to go off at the same time. Now we could actually have these wired in parallel like I mentioned earlier, but for demonstration purposes I want to show you the feature within the 18R2 where it sends the firing signals in parallel or layers them, and so it enables you to have multiple cues fired at the same time. And so that's what this is going to demonstrate. Like I said, if I wanted to, it'd be more efficient to actually have these in parallel, but I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. So my show looks pretty good right now, and I just need to add my channel information, my cue information in. So I'll go ahead and do that right now. And we have 8 cues, so I'll go ahead and number these. Alright, so now we need to set up our scrip attributes, and to do that we access that by clicking on this icon up here. And your scrip attributes include your trigger channel, your trigger button, a confirmation button if you want it, and a return channel. And then it asks you, of course, if you're using the Cobra audio box or not. This show is timed without music, so we'll leave that at no. So your trigger channel, I'm actually going to select channel 1. My trigger button, I'll click on that field and you can see it brings up a picture of the remote. I'm going to select the auto fire, so I'm just going to click on that button and you can see it populates it in this field. Now the confirmation button, this is nice for additional security. It would require you to actually press 2 separate buttons on the remote to execute the script. For this particular show, I'm not going to require one. And then once the script's done, I want it to return to channel 1 on the remote. So I'm going to go ahead and put channel 1 there. So I'm ready to go ahead and generate my script. And to do that, I click this icon here on the lower right, Create Script. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And you see I got a pop-up. It says your script contains cues that are used more than once. If you did this on purpose, you can ignore. If not, please press the change button. So I didn't actually mean to do that. So this is some of the built-in error checking that this application has. It identifies things within your script and allows you to make changes before you go ahead and generate it. So I'm going to go ahead and click change. And I didn't actually want this to be 3 as well. I want it to be 4, so I'm going to have to change the order here. So we'll go ahead and go 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, and then 8. Now I think we're in pretty good shape. So I'm going to go ahead and create my script. And you can see it said it created successfully. Now I have a couple options. I can close this window. I can open this particular script file within the directory if I want to look at it. Or I can export it. I'm going to export it. And now I just need to go ahead and select my USB memory stick, and I'll do that. And you can see it already has the single file format for Cobra, and then it's attached the appropriate extension, CSV file. So I'll just click Save. And you want to click Yes to overwrite. And then I can close this window. And that's the basics for creating a time event based show within Cobra Show Creator. You can see it's pretty easy. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to take this script, we're going to upload it to the 18R2, and then we're going to test fire it on the Cobra firing system. So I need a couple minutes to get everything set up, and then we'll go ahead and perform that test. Okay, as you can see, we're ready to go. We have things set up. We're going to do the simulation of the time event show that we created in Cobra Show Creator. I have the 18R2 powered on, as well as the firing module, and I have talent igniters hooked up to the module, and we're ready to go. So the next step is we're going to go ahead and upload the script to the remote. And I'm going to first start by removing the cap, exposing the USB port. I'm going to take my memory stick that contains a script file, and I'm going to plug that into the side of the remote. You can see that it read it and it uploaded the script file successfully. And based on the parameters within the script, you can see that it's expecting continuity across 8 cues. And currently I have continuity on all those cues except for cues 3 and cues 6. And I can tell you I don't actually have igniters on those cues. So we're okay and ready to go ahead with our simulation. So a couple things I want to point out first is, as you recall when we set up the show, I wanted to have 3 mine effects. And I wanted to have those wired in parallel and all connected to Q1. As we know, within the Cobra firing system, you can actually have up to 4 consumer igniters in parallel attached to one cue. But for this particular demonstration, we're just going to have 3. I have those wired here, and then I have other igniters placed at various points throughout the show. So at this point, the next step is we need to arm the system because everything looks good. So I'm going to place it in arm. You can see that it found one module in the field that's in the arm position. And if you recall, when we set up the script, we had our trigger channel is 1, so we're there. And then our firing button was actually going to be the auto fire. So for me to go ahead and execute the script, I need to push the auto fire. I'm going to do that. You should see these 3 igniters go off initially, immediately followed by this one right here, and then we'll go throughout the rest of the show. So I'm going to go ahead and execute the firing command by pushing the auto fire. There you saw those 3 cues lit up. Q2 went up, and now it's counting down, waiting for the next cue. The one thing I wanted to point out within the system is you do have the ability as the operator to actually pause the show in the event that you had a problem. And the way you pause your show is you simply will press the arm button. And you can see I press that and it shows that it's currently in pause. So this is a really good feature, like I said, if you had an issue as your show was firing and you want to delay it and you had a need to do so, you can actually hit the arm button and it'll put it in a pause mode. To restart the show, you simply will push the arm button again and it would continue on and execute the script just as you had it set up originally. So I'm going to go ahead and push the arm button to reinitiate the script. And the other feature I'm going to point out is, say for instance during your show you have a gap in time. Maybe your timing wasn't totally set correctly when you originally set it up. Well, what you're able to do is you actually can hit the step button, and the step button, what that would do is it automatically go to the next cue. So you can avoid any potential long gaps if your timing is off or say something didn't fire. You can go ahead and push a step button and step to the next cue. So I'm going to go ahead and start this. You can see it's counting down. We're going to let this one fire. And that should be over here. You can see that fired. That was Q3. Didn't actually have an igniter hooked up to it. So now I'm going to show you the next feature. I'm going to hit step and it's going to fire Q4. So I'm going to go ahead and push that. And you can see it fired right there. And you can see it on the module. So that's the step feature that I mentioned to you. To save time, I'm going to go ahead and step to the next event. You can see we're still counting down. And you can see that fired over there. So that, like I said, is a really nice feature if, say, you had something wasn't wired properly, didn't fire, and you didn't want to have a long pause or gap in your show. You can simply press that to go to the next cue. So now we're going to be executing our finale, and I want you to pay close attention. This is going to show the speed of the 18R2 because these 2 cues are going to fire at the same time. There they go, and you can see the igniters fired. So that's a demonstration and an execution of a time event show and executing it on the Cobra firing system. And as you can see, everything performed flawlessly. and we had a successful test. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more videos on the Cobra firing system and some more videos about scripting. Thanks a lot for watching.